Hi, welcome to Easy Talks. My name is Alfonso
I'm Francisco Gutierrez.
and we are from Easy Legal Mexico, a law firm based on the state of Yucatan. We're going to talk today about clients buying in developments, either just land or houses, usually in pre-sale, and then a little bit at the end of the chapter, the relationship between clients and builders and how to be protected and how to take full advantage of that and not be, unprotected. So I think it's safe to say that the state of Yucatan have had a real estate boom in the past several years, which led to the many developments and the sale of many lots and houses. It's had appeared a lot of construction going on around here. When you see it, it's amazing between the high rises, the sky rises, and the apartments and the lots. And I don't know, we're gonna be full of people. We split these developments in two. One are the investment lots, which are very cheap.
Investment
Yeah.
lots.
That's what they sell you. They tell you they're an investment because they're so cheap that you can afford land, and then when you resell it, you're gonna have lots of profit. But they are very cheap properties in the middle of nowhere that they tell you you're gonna have a road, which they never finish, and they tell you you're gonna have amenities, which they never built, and they sell it to you in very cheap installments. This, as good as it sounds, it has a downside.
Yeah, the reality is that those really cheap lots in the middle of nowhere, they're gonna be always that. There's no roads, there's no services,
There's no plan
anything.
there's no plan with the city to build anything around that area. I mean, you have to consider that if you buy that thinking that's gonna be my state where I'm gonna live, you're always gonna be kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
With difficult access and stuff. From the legal standpoint of view, we don't love those lots, and maybe we're shooting ourselves in the foot by just selling this because we're losing job. But the price of the property is almost the price of the deed is going to be almost as expensive as the price of the property.
Yeah.
Between acquisition property tax, the appraisal, the fees, and what the bank charges, because remember, when you're forming a fideicomiso, the fee of the bank, what the bank charges is not based on price. So they don't care if you're buying a 10 million peso property or a 100,000 peso property, it's going to be the same. Your starting point with a fideicomiso is around 45,000 pesos. So right there, you'll have almost 1/3 of the cost of your land. So you have to plan on that, not thinking, because I'm buying a very cheap lot, the deed's going to be very cheap. It's not going to be the case. Second, when you're buying several lots to build, or for whatever reason, either to sell several lots or to build a bigger home, it's one fideicomiso per lot. Some client says, but if I join them together, yeah, but you have to own them first to join them together. It's either you form one fideicomiso per lot, and that's 40,000, 40,000, 40,000 a starting point, or ask the developer to join them together, which they never do. They don't like to do it, and why would they?
Yeah. And even though if it's more than 2,000 square meters,
you're gonna do a fideicomiso for more than 2,000 square meters. But even if there's little lots of 100 square meters, 150 square meters each lot, and then you ask the developer to join them together for you, 99% of the cases they tell you no, it's your problem. Their lots are paid through little payments, which means that by the time that you finish paying, the price of the property commercially is going to be a different one than the one that you pay for. So that creates a tax called capital gains tax on the acquisition, which is 20% between the price that you pay and the price that it's going to be appraised. And finally, the fact of the matter, or the reality of these lots, is that they are not really that good of an investment. Yeah. I mean, the margin profit that you're going to have at the very end is very little. If you have any, and if actually the developer finish the project. The other developments that we're going to talk about are the more serious developments of living, places where they're going to either build houses or they're private,
or condos or whatever.
yeah, that you can actually buy, and they're more serious. You have to take in consideration a couple of things there. First, if they're in the beach or close to the beach, beach area, you have to do an environmental feasibility to see what you can build or not build there. Don't give any money to any developer without having checked that. Because sometimes not even the developers don't even care. And they'll just selling properties. You can end up with a beautiful property on a beach, for example, in Campeche, where you cannot build anything, not even a palapa. Beautiful property, but you cannot use it for anything other than to put your chair and watch the sunrise. So that's the first step. Then it will be good if you ask around, if you hire people, not knowledgeable people, to ask around about the fame of the developer, what other things they have done in the past, what success they have had in the area. And I cannot stress this anymore. Before you even give them anything. Developer has these things where they're much in a hurry and give me 50,000 pesos to separate lot. Give me 1,000, and to recover that later on is just a freaking nightmare.
Yeah, in particular in Campeche, is a lot of clients are going that side right now because maybe the area is getting more expensive. So they're starting to look at Campeche, and Campeche could be a really good place to invest, but you need to take in consideration what Alfonso was saying about the feasibility environmental studies. They're selling lots also like crazy in Campeche, like they're doing here, but the beach area is really particular, and we just had a client last week that they already put a deposit on a lot that they don't have anything, and they are advertising like if they have an environmental study impact, and it's from another development. It's not what they are really selling.
Yeah.
And right now they have the problem of getting the deposit back. Fortunately, they contact us in time, and they didn't put
anymore
more money on the lot, but they were about to. Yeah.
Yep. So depending on the area, then the feasibility and asking around before you give any money. Then the next step will be, if you're buying a house, be very sure of what the contract states in terms of qualities, or what the house is going to have. If there's houses already built, go inside the houses, check the houses, make sure that what you think is going to be there is what the contract says. Very important to have an attorney by you to check the contract and make sure that the contract is legally binding and it has penalties and due dates and pretty much everything that a contract should have, because otherwise, again, we know tons of stories, you're gonna just be sitting waiting for the developer to finish either the construction or the condominium regime or anything before they can actually give you your deed or your property, and without being able to do anything because your contract doesn't really protect you the way it should be. And once you do that and you're sure of that, then you can start making the payments. Check also with your attorney about if you're going to be making payments or paying installments. Check about capital gains tax on the acquisition. What are you going to do about that? Check with your seller, who's going to pay it, when they're going to pay it. It's a very, in Yucatan area, it's a very important subject right now with the new appraisal law that was approved last year on February 14 of 2022. So check that first. Now let's talk about
Just so you don't get lost. What he's saying is that if you bought a condo for $100,000 2 years ago, right now I'm sure it's gonna worth perhaps like
300,000
or well, don't go that far, but at least
250.
Yeah. So that's the problem when you're gonna sign your deed. You bought it for 100,000, and right now the appraisal comes from 200 or something.
220 or whatever.
So that's when the builder is gonna say, okay, I don't care for what I sold it, but right now you have to pay
Yeah.
20% on the acquisition
And the capital gains tax on the acquisition.
by acquisition, yeah, and that's something that they don't tell you when
Yeah.
when you're buying. So you have to check on that because we have a lot of clients right now with that,
With that
problems
problem.
when they come to us. Now,
When they start buying 2-3
Exactly.
years
Yeah.
before. Of course, the law changes, and there's nothing. I mean, it's not necessarily a developer's fault because the law changed, but it's something that had to be brought to the client's attention. It wasn't until they have to make a deal.
yeah, but there's a lot of developments that till today they don't have a condominium regime, and they start selling 5 years ago.
And they're still selling. They're still selling more developments. Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter, you have to check that they have everything in place or will have everything in place, and I think that's solved if you have an attorney by you from during the whole process. Now, let's talk about hidden vices. You have 1 year from the moment you receive the possession of your property for hidden vices. Hidden vices is everything that it has, the house or the property can have that you cannot see at first sight, okay, when you receive the property. This is protected by the law. And then we're gonna touch the subject of the NOM 247 a little bit. NOM is short for Norma Oficial Mexicana, which is an official Mexican norm or rule that was issued on September 18 of 2022 that protects the buyers of this development, considering them as a consumer, basically. And they protect them more deeply or a lot more than many people know. The developers has so many obligations based on this norm that they don't even know. More than half of them don't even register their contract in the Profeco or the consumer's office, which they should. They don't even know that what they advertise on the advertisements on the roads and everything, they are, by doing that, they are committing to build that what they're advertising. There's huge penalties for them if they don't fulfill those obligations, and many clients don't know because they think, oh, I'm not gonna sue to have my tile fixed or wherever. It's not a question of that. If you go through Profeco is gonna take care, is gonna turn and ask the developer, hey, did you fulfill your obligations according to the NOM 247? And if not, there's huge penalties on that. We have an associate that we have worked with in the past that if you have that situation or want to explore that path, contact us and we can get you in touch with him and work in team, because it's very unknown for buyers, really, what they can or cannot do when they get into this situation. And most of the times they think, oh, I'm not throwing good money after bad money and I'm not going. It's not a question of that. Trust me. Once you start a process of this kind and you make the authority aware that the developer didn't fulfill all their obligations according to the NOM 247, big problem for them. And it could create even bigger problems, which eventually will let them to fix wherever you need to be fixed to the house.
Yeah. The problem is that the reality is that if you don't complain about it,
they don't have any way to know.
It's not gonna go after the developers.
Yeah.
They don't have the resources.
Yeah. They don't have the people. They don't have the. Yeah.
So you have to go after them in case you have a problem with them, and it's very important to check the websites. Most of them, they're not gonna have the contracts.
Adhesión, contrato de adhesión.
Registered, yeah.
But it's very important. I mean, I understand that culturally we're still not there, and I understand that the authority still doesn't have the infrastructure to enforce the way it should be enforced, the NOM 247, but that's your protection as a buyer. So take a look at it if you can, but if not, and if you're in a situation where you feel you have been left behind or not taken consideration by the developer of the property or the house that you're buying, give us a shout because there's stuff we can do for you. Now, that's when buying a property, a development, or either houses, lands, or investment lands. Let's talk about now a little bit about construction and the relationship with builders. I think it's safe to say that I don't want to say half of the work we receive aside of the fideicomiso, but a good chunk of the work we receive aside of the fideicomiso had to do with developers not delivering.
Yeah, a lot of clients, after they have bought a piece of land, just the land, they hire an architect or a contractor or whoever.
An engineer or whatever.
Or sometimes they already, when they're buying the property, they buy the lot and the construction on the site.
Yeah.
And with the same developer or not, but it's very important to have a construction contract establish
the obligations, the rights
of the builder. Yeah, because once you own the land, if you don't have a contract in place with the developer or the builder, you can get in because you cannot check the property as when you buy a new construction that you're already seeing what is happening. We have a lot of clients that they have problems after that. So it's very important to check on the construction contract. Payments, don't pay in cash. That's very important. A lot of people want to save money, pay in cash, because they want to save the 16% on the
tax.
Exactly. Yeah.
But first, the thing with paying cash, I don't have any. If things came to a place where you have to sue your builder, I don't have any way to show the court that you pay him. Mm-hmm. Cash is without a factura. There's not a concept on what you pay. There's no evidence that you have paid him. It creates a whole problem there. So, first, the contract establishing the obligations and the rights of the builder and the obligations of the rights of the client. Calendar of payments, very, very important. Calendar of payment based on advanced work, not in a future work. So according, if in the first stage you have to build, 3 rooms, before you make the second payment, check that those 3 rooms have been built. I know it's a pain in the ass to build from a distance with foreign clients not being here and building without being here. It's not advisable. But if you have to do it, you have to name somebody reliable that you trust in the area to be your eyes. Because no construction is perfect. There's always going to be things, and you need to see them. Once you make the final payment, that's it. If the company is not reputable, you're going to have lots of problems getting them to fix things. So, construction, the relationship, the contract is very important. Again, an attorney by your side will help you solve all of those things. Builders, engineers, architects don't really like the very harsh and the way the contract should be, but it's the only way that you can be fully protected. If you choose not to pay the IVA, not to pay to wire transfer or checks, not to sign a contract, you're gonna be completely unprotected and more than most of the times the clients come with these problems, we have to tell them there's nothing we can do for you. That's it. Hire somebody else and have them finish the job. There's nothing we can do for you because that is throwing good money after bad money, suing somebody without the weapons to do it. Our job is not only to defend the clients, it's also to make an assessment to know what their chances of success are, real chances of success are. And in these cases, their chances of success are very, very little. So you have to be very careful from the get-go. No once bad things has happened. Also, and on a different note, those facturas that you get from building your house, you can deduct later on against the capital gains tax if you're selling up the property. Wherever, I'm not going to get into the capital gains tax rules, but you can use that as a write-off to deduct it against the capital gains tax. So it's not waste money or just money that you're throwing because you're paying extra. Please be careful of those service providers in the construction area that are just a friend of a friend, or that I met on the beach walking around. Oh, is he so nice? He's gonna do a great job. There's a lot of bad experiences the client has had. So be very careful. Check, have a contract, establish a plan with the builder, and most of all, ask around. Check the website, check what people are saying. There's bad experiences all around, so people have blogs or wherever. Just check and see what the famous. Usually, we tend to recommend. Well, at the beginning, we didn't recommend anybody. We were scared to death to recommend anybody. We couldn't recommend anybody. Then we started recommending a very reputable construction company, and all they said, the clients that we recommended, all they said was, "Oh, it's very expensive. Oh, they charge IVA. Oh, that's fine. You can decide. You have a budget, but if you want to do things right, if you want to do things by the book, if you want to be protected, if you want guarantees, it's going to cost you." Yes. So especially in construction, I don't recommend you to go cheap. I really don't. Up to you. I don't know where people from where they're seeing us in which countries, but in Mexico, going cheap on construction is a big, big mistake. So up to them. I don't know. Do you think it's about something else to protect them with the builder? I think
you were saying about the websites, but even the websites are.
Yeah, they're deceitful. You don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just to ask around. I think is the key. We're still, I think Yucatan, Campeche and a little bit Quintana Roo, we're still small enough so you can ask around and people are gonna know who that people are and what their experiences are. So just ask around, both in buying real estate through developments, on both of building, fame, and what they have done in the past is very important. It's gonna save you lots of headaches. So
like I was saying in Campeche, last week we had that client, and we were asking around, even to notaries in Campeche, and they didn't know about the developer. That gave us a really good idea that it was a red flag, because even people from that place didn't know them. So going deeper, we found out who was the developer, and it has a really bad reputation.
His name is not. Yeah.
So fortunately, we
were able
stop them to
help the client, to avoid them, to give them an even bigger payment, or to just throw more money. But just to ask around, like we did, and to check on who's involved in the deals, very important. Sometimes even more important than documents, because documents can tell you one thing.
Yeah.
And even if they had the actual documents, some developers are famous for not finishing their product. So if you see that some of them are involved, then you can tell the client, hey, this is going on, this is happening, before they can invest more money. So it's very important. The presence of an attorney in any of the cases, both with contracts, with developers, with builders, with sellers in particular, is very important.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it for today. If you have any questions, please contact us. We have our email. We have you can put comments below. And if you have any questions regarding particularly this subject, you can let us know and we can help you and take it from there. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.